Welcome to another session of Finding Clarity and Direction. In this session today, I would like to share with you how one could unstuck and learn to let it go, and what really happens when we stay trapped in our own resentments, bottle up emotions, and how they manifest in our professional and personal space, bringing in a lot of trouble in almost all spheres of our life. Meet Samuel. Samuel and I've had actually coached Samuel for 3 different phases of coaching, which were spread over 5 years. This one phase was the very beginning when I and Samuel co-created and I helped him find his peace by eventually letting it all go. Samuel was not always like this, but when we first started our coaching, the Samuel I met was someone who was carrying a heavy baggage from his past. There were a lot of bottled up emotions, which made Samuel a bit snappy and judgmental. He would be one of the most difficult bosses for his team members. And I'm sure if I had coached his team members, they would have some very horrible tales to share with me about Samuel. But hearts of hearts, Samuel was not that bad as the way he appeared, because just like you and me, he was someone with some unregulated emotions, completely conflicted with his own self, which made him behave in ways which were neither good for him, his family, and even his profession. Samuel reached out for coaching when he could no longer take it, and his behavior started reflecting in his appraisals. At a senior level, he lost 2 of his promotion opportunities on account of a conflict he was caught up with one of his team members, which dragged on. And in this entire conflict, it was actually no one who won or lost, but Samuel, who experienced one of the most difficult phases in his professional life. Lot of such things and incidents and events, including that of the past, filled Samuel with lot of resentments. He at times even used to question, why is it that he finds himself in a vicious circle of stress and negativity which comes to him from all nooks and corners of life. His spouse and children also feared him, and he stayed constantly frustrated, with both his work and personal life impacted at a very deep level. Together, me and Samuel, we worked for 2 months. In this particular session, I'm just sharing with you just one part of how I helped Samuel from the plethora of issues that he was stuck in. I taught him this 3-step technique, and that's I'm about to share with you, which really helped him find the inner calm he was in search of for the past 3 years. So, having understood and deep diving into Samuel's past, where exactly he was coming in from, including the conflict he had at his office, which was a major one, which led him to lose his promotion opportunity. I asked Samuel to share every bit and detail of it. Along with that, there were a few other details that he included in all that he shared. And to begin with, I gave him these 3 steps. I said, Samuel, describe your feelings. Sometimes we find it difficult to articulate how we felt of the many times we're being wrong by our very own, when we feel dejected, disappointed, when we never intend to be mean, but the world is mean to us, is unfair to us, and maybe in one slip we are punished as if we were the main culprit. Samuel was going through something very similar, and there were times when he felt extremely choked, not really able to articulate how he felt. So I gave him an option to either draw it out or simply write. This is a very powerful technique, friends. If at all you ever feel, maybe not like Samuel, or maybe not a very extreme case like that of Samuel, but in your own life, when you are not able to describe your feeling, or you feel wronged by others and feel isolated, one of the ways you can let that out is by simply writing it. So back to our technique. Step 1 was to write how he felt, articulate how he felt. Then step 2, I asked him, it was actually a journal that I shared with him, which had many other questions, but this was the main one, to put it in detail what exactly happened with the series of events from the past, the recent past, and the present that got Samuel a nickname of resentful Samuel. And that toward the end of it, I also asked Samuel to think of someone you need to forgive. He smiled when I asked him this question. I said, it's important. I'll tell you once you're done with your response why I'm asking you this. So friends, towards the end of this video, in the description box, you will find a link where you have a guided meditation, and you could use that if, again, if you find yourself stuck, not able to let go. And when you pause and reflect, oftentimes it's actually the people we fail to forget that keep us trapped and stuck in our life. We may think, how is that possible? Because they have wronged us, they've been mean to us, and they've frustrated us. They brought the worst out of us. And now you're asking us to forgive them? There's a neuroscience to it, friends. Every negative experience or event or thought releases a chemical in our nervous system from our neural circuits, which brings in a lot of harm when we are constantly stuck in our worry cycle. And this happens when we hold resentments, when we find ourselves too rigid to forgive anyone. On the other end, if we open up our heart and we really intend to heal ourselves, there's a method to that as well, and that you will find in the guided meditations, which, as I mentioned, I have shared the link. All you need to do is listen to it and follow along. You will find with practice a deep sense of calm coming over you, a lot of insights your inner wisdom would share with you. And sometimes it might even give you answers to questions that you've been chasing for years. So back to the case of Samuel. I asked him to write what exactly happened in detail, and also to mention all those he needs to forgive. Step 3 was, once he was ready with his entire narrative stories, I asked him, that Samuel, to create a column against each of the findings we had from his story, to answer just one question to each of those findings. What's the point of holding on to whatever he was holding on to? I said, list 5 benefits of doing so. So the various narrations that Samuel shared, and there were many characters in it. Sometimes it was his partner, sometimes his children, his parents, one of his best friend, his co-workers, his boss, a difficult client, and a team member who was equally difficult. The story was way too long, but there were several insights that Samuel gained. And I just asked him to answer just one question to all that he has written, that list down 5 benefits of whatever you're holding on to. So if you feel my partner is not really up to what I had expected, my boss is toxic, or my subordinate is kind of lacking in manners, fine. This is what you're holding on to, and there was a lot. So could you just list 5 benefits of holding on to the heavy weight of holding on to these thoughts that Samuel was doing for years now? The image, the first part, when I asked him to draw the image, this is something I pulled out based on what he made. It's not exactly that, but this is very, very similar to how he felt. Because Samuel was unable to articulate his feelings, he felt like he was in a box or in a jar, and he was choking. The lid was tight. He just was looking for a way out to come out and breathe. He felt trapped. And if you look at the attire of this particular image, it's official. So most of the time, the feelings of being trapped, choked, being wrong were more predominant in his professional space than in his personal space. Personally, they were at the receiving end, but it was a professional space where Samuel was constantly finding himself trapped, stuck. Maybe the role, the people, the client, they were too demanding. To the second and third part, this is just a snapshot that I'm sharing here. He spoke about the worry, the cycle of stress, which started with the worries he had. They were innumerable, and what kind of problem they led to, where he found no solution and he went back to worrying again. So this was a cycle of stress he was caught up in. And then when I asked him to create the people he need to forgive, in addition to that, I also asked Samuel to write, what's your shoulds list? What is it that you need to let go? So I've just written this to give you a view of how it looked like. It was a huge list. And basically, if you ever feel you need to let go of something that's keeping you trapped, friends, you know what you could do? Simply just write, what is your shoulds list? My boss should treat me well. My team should respect me. My wife should always read my mind and understand me. My kids should be obedient. The world should be a peaceful place. Nobody should wrong anyone. So these are our shoulds. We do not really pay attention to it, but when we write them down is where we find that most often the shoulds are what keeps us trapped, and that's what something we need to let go. And as I mentioned earlier, what's the benefit? So to every should, just ask yourself, if I were to believe in this should and I'm not willing to let it go, write 1 of 5. What is the benefit of holding on to these shoulds and not letting them go? When you do this, magic will unfold. You will find how, just like Samuel, man, this is crazy. This was exactly verbatim of what Samuel told me. What's the benefit? And believe me, he couldn't find a single benefit in any of that he was holding on to. and that was an unnecessary weight he carried on for years, impacting his health, impacting his mental health, impacting his relationships, impacting his kids, impacting his professional life, his abilities, his potential, his belief in his own skills, and a lot more. Can you imagine a simple not letting it go and holding on to our shoulds can do to us? So the second part of what I shared with Samuel, there's a guided meditation specifically which helps people to connect and practice forgiveness. Because forgiveness does not come easy. If I simply ask Samuel to name the people and sit and forgive, it wouldn't have been very easy. Because those who wrong us and where we feel disappointed, it's also very difficult for us to forgive them or let go of the resents the resentments we carry for them, because we none of us were taught since our childhood that forgiveness is not that we accept. For some people it might come across as like forgiveness means I am weak, I couldn't do anything in my defense, and therefore all I'm doing is forgiving because I want peace. No, forgiveness, on the contrary, is a courageous act. It takes a lot of courage to move inward, think it from a very objective perspective, and then practice it. And as powerful as forgiveness is, its impact is equally powerful on your nervous system. So what I'm sharing here with you and the guided meditation that I shared with Samuel, and also it is in the description box. It is no ordinary meditation because forgiveness is not ordinary. It helps you not just connect to your inner self, but it's a life skill. And there's a neuroscience to it where it releases that stress from your nervous system, which has a long-lasting, powerful impact on your entire mental health and overall well-being. So when I asked Samuel this question in the beginning of who do you need to forgive, and he was smiling, he came up with a long list. So I said, Samuel, all you need to do is pick the ones you feel they are the most difficult to forgive. Go ahead, listen to this guided meditation. Pick one person at a time and practice it. You won't get it the very first time. It's not easy. Therefore, it is the practice. But the more you practice, you will realize how beautiful experience will unfold, and you could feel it within when you forgive those who wrong you and gain that sense of calm and inner peace inside you. Not just that, you just unstuck yourself from this vicious circle forever. It is that powerful. I gave Samuel to practice this, and it, as I mentioned, it was magical. From being a snappy, hot-headed Samuel, if you happen to meet Samuel today, you would not find anyone as cheerful and as happy as he is. So friends, if you want to take this journey along with me, want to learn the life skill to let go, if you feel you're stuck in life, you want to unstuck, somewhere you have those choked emotions, or the way of the past, things that you've been carrying for so long, which no longer serves you. Here are the coordinates. I look forward to meet you in another coaching session where together, just like Samuel, we learn to unstuck and let go. Thank you.